There are moments in life when everything feels heavy, when your heart aches, your eyes well up, and your soul feels weary. You wonder if relief will ever come, if this darkness will ever end. But it is in these very moments that patience becomes your light. Not a dim, flickering one, but a steady glow that guides you through the tunnel of pain toward peace. Patience isn't simply waiting. It's believing that Allah's plan is always unfolding perfectly, even when you cannot see it. It's trusting that every delay, every hardship, every heartbreak is not a punishment but a purification, a means of drawing you closer to the one who loves you most. Patience transforms pain into purpose. It teaches you that sometimes Allah withholds what you want to give you what you need. That sometimes the silence you face isn't His neglect, it's His mercy, allowing your heart to detach from this world and cling only to Him. When your prayers seem unanswered, remember He is not ignoring you. He is preparing you. Every storm eventually runs out of rain, every night fades into dawn, and every wound finds its healing. The key is to hold on to faith in the in-between, the unseen part of your story that only Allah knows. So, when you are standing in the middle of your tunnel, when you cannot yet see the light, close your eyes and remind yourself that it is still there. It may be faint, but it never disappeared. The light of Allah's mercy is constant. You just need patience to walk toward it. Because the one who endures with Sabr does not lose, they rise. They emerge stronger, softer, and more connected to the divine than ever before. And when you finally step out into the light, you'll realize that it wasn't just about surviving the tunnel. It was about being transformed within it. Patience is not passive waiting. It is one of the most misunderstood virtues. People often think it means to sit quietly, do nothing, and simply endure until things change. But true patience, the kind that transforms hearts and elevates souls, is far deeper and more powerful. It is an active living faith. It's not the stillness of inaction, it's the calm strength of trust. It is to walk through pain with dignity, to face uncertainty with serenity, and to continue believing in Allah's wisdom when everything inside you wants to give up. When life tests you, and it will, patience does not mean you sit on the sidelines, waiting for your situation to magically improve. It means you continue to move forward, even when the path is hidden. It means you keep striving, keep praying, keep hoping, and keep doing your part, knowing that Allah will never abandon the one who places their trust in Him. Patience is an act of the heart, a quiet but powerful declaration that says, my timing is not better than Allah's timing. It's to choose to surrender over frustration, faith over fear, and calm over chaos. When you are patient, you are not just waiting for your pain to end, you are growing through it. You are learning how to breathe in the middle of hardship, how to stay grounded when life pulls you apart, and how to find meaning in the delay. True patience is not about passively letting life happen to you, it's about engaging with life through the lens of trust. It's about saying, I will keep doing what's right, even when it's hard. I will keep walking, even if I can't yet see the destination. That's why patience is not weakness, it's strength in its most refined form. There is a deep wisdom in the way Allah teaches patience. He places us in moments where we can't control outcomes, where our strength fails, and our plans fall apart. It is in these moments that we realize patience is not about waiting for the storm but learning how to find Allah within the storm. It's not passive, it's deeply active. It's the soul's way of saying, I may not understand what's happening, but I choose to trust the one who does. It's an active form of worship because it requires constant remembrance, constant surrender, and constant renewal of faith. The Prophet said, know that victory comes with patience, relief with affliction, and ease with hardship. Notice how patience is not portrayed as silence or inaction, but but as the condition of the heart that leads to victory. The patient believer does not just endure, they persevere. They rise after falling, they smile through tears, and they hold on to hope even when the world tells them to give up. Their patience is movement toward Allah, toward light, toward understanding. Waiting says, I'll just wait until things change. But active patience says, pray my hardest and trust that Allah will bring change in His perfect way. Passive waiting leaves you powerless. Active patience empowers you. It fills your heart with peace because you are no longer fighting life's flow. You are aligning yourself with Allah's divine will. You are saying, I trust that what is meant for me will find me, and what is not will pass me by. That kind of faith makes patience beautiful. There are times when patience feels unbearable, when every part of you wants to scream, why me? But it's in those moments that patience becomes most valuable. Because it teaches you surrender. It teaches you to let go of your illusion of control and hand your heart back to Allah. You begin to realize that patience is not waiting for the pain to disappear, it's allowing the pain to purify you. It shapes you, humbles you, and deepens your relationship with your Creator. You stop asking, when will this end? And start asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? That shift changes everything. In truth, patience is a form of silent strength. It is not loud, but it echoes in your actions. It is not flashy, but it transforms your soul. The person who is patient is not idle. They are active in their faith, resilient in their efforts, and grounded in their hope. They may cry, they may fall, but they never stop trusting. They continue to move even when the road is dark, because they know the light is there, just beyond the bend, waiting for the one who walks with Sabr. So no, patience is not passive waiting. It is courage disguised as calmness, faith wrapped in perseverance, and love for Allah expressed through trust. It's the soul whispering, I will keep going, even when the world feels too heavy. Because patience is not about doing nothing, it's about doing everything, with faith, with hope, and with the quiet certainty that Allah's plan is always worth the wait. Every hardship carries divine wisdom, even if hidden from our sight. It's one of the most profound truths of life, one that the heart struggles to understand when pain feels too heavy, when we are in the middle of hardship, when everything we planned begins to crumble, and when the tears seem endless. It's hard to believe that there could be wisdom behind our suffering. We ask, why me, or why now? Because our human hearts crave clarity, control, and comfort. Yet Allah, in His infinite mercy, knows that if we could see what He sees, we would choose exactly what He has chosen for us. Hardship is not random. It is not chaos. It is a divine appointment, for a moment designed perfectly for our growth, for our purification, for our awakening. We may see pain, but Allah sees potential. We may see loss, but He sees protection. We may see delay, but He sees preparation. The very thing that feels like a punishment might, in truth, be a hidden blessing meant to redirect us to something far greater. Life's trials are not evidence of Allah's absence. They are signs of His deep involvement in our journey, crafting us, molding us, and bringing us closer to Him in ways ease never could. When Allah loves a servant, He refines them through tests. It is through those tests that our hearts are stripped of arrogance, dependence on people, and attachment to this world. Hardship peels away the layers that cover the soul, revealing sincerity and humility beneath. Think of gold. It must be placed in fire to be purified. Likewise, our hearts must go through the fire of difficulty to emerge purified, softened, and radiant in faith. The pain that feels unbearable today may be the very thing that lifts you tomorrow. Sometimes Allah closes one door because He knows it will harm your heart, or because He wants to lead you through a better one. But since we see only the door that's shut, We grieve thinking we've lost everything. We don't realize that the divine plan is still unfolding quietly, perfectly behind the scenes. The wisdom of Allah is not always meant to be understood in the moment. It reveals itself only after time has passed. When we look back and realize that every delay, every heartbreak, and every detour was preparing us for something our hearts could not yet handle. We must learn to trust that every difficulty carries meaning, even when our eyes cannot see it. Because in Allah's design, nothing is wasted. Every tear you shed, every prayer whispered in the dark, every moment you thought you wouldn't survive, all of it is recorded, honored, and turned into light for you in this world and the next. There are times when what feels like a loss is actually a mercy in disguise. Perhaps Allah is protecting you from something you can't see, or maybe He's building within you the strength and faith you'll need for what's coming next. When we say that hardship carries divine wisdom, it means that the pain you endure has a purpose greater than your understanding. Sometimes that wisdom is to teach patience. Sometimes it's to awaken gratitude. And sometimes it's simply to bring you back to Allah, to remind you that no one can heal your heart but Him. The broken heart is not a sign of failure. It's an invitation to return to the one who created it. In those moments of weakness, when your world feels shattered, Allah is closest. He listens to every silent cry, and He responds, not always by changing your situation immediately, but by changing you through it. Every prophet, every righteous believer faced trials that seemed unbearable. Prophet Yusuf was thrown into a well by his own brother. Prophet Ayub lost his wealth, health, and family. Prophet Muhammad was rejected, mocked, and forced to leave. Yet in every one of their stories, the hidden wisdom was revealed. Their pain became their path to greatness. Their hardship became their closeness to Allah. Their struggles were not signs of divine anger, but of divine love, because through suffering, they discovered a higher purpose, a deeper strength, and an unshakable faith. So when you are tested, when life feels unfair and the world seems dark, remind yourself there is wisdom here, even if I cannot see it yet. Allah never burdens a soul without purpose. Every hardship you face is custom, made for your heart's growth, your soul's elevation, and your journey toward Him. You may not understand now, but one day you will look back and say, if it wasn't for that trial, I wouldn't be who I am today. That is the beauty of divine wisdom. It's often hidden in the very things we once prayed to be freed from. Therefore, hold your pain gently. Do not curse your hardships. Seek the lesson within it. Because even in your breaking, Allah is building something beautiful inside you. His wisdom is not always visible, but it is always perfect. And one day, when the dust of your struggle settles, you will see that every hardship carried a divine purpose. It was never meant to destroy you, only to deliver you to something greater, a softer heart, a deeper faith, and a stronger connection to the one who never left you. Delays are not denials. They are part of Allah's preparation for your growth. It's a truth that brings peace to a restless heart. The understanding that just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. In a world where everything moves fast, where we want instant results and immediate answers, waiting can feel unbearable. We live in an age of quick solutions. Instant communication, instant gratification, instant everything. But the soul does not grow in haste. The heart matures in waiting. And Allah, in His perfect wisdom, sometimes withholds what we desire not to punish us, but to prepare us. When Allah delays something, it is never without purpose something. The delay is a divine pause, a space in which He shapes you, strengthens you, and refines your heart for what lies ahead. Sometimes you think you're ready, but Allah knows you are not. He sees the full picture, the timing, the circumstances, for the unseen events that must align for your blessing to arrive. He knows the dangers you can't see and the weaknesses within you that still need nurturing. And so he delays, not to deny you, but to protect you, to perfect your heart, and to make sure that when the blessing comes, you'll be ready to receive it with gratitude, maturity, and wisdom. You may pray for something with all your heart, a job, a relationship, healing, or success, and feel disheartened when it doesn't arrive on your timeline. But Allah's timing is not delayed, it is precise. Every answered prayer has a divine schedule. Every gift arrives when it's meant to, not a moment earlier or later. The problem is, we often mistake silence for rejection. We think Allah has forgotten us, when in reality, He is arranging things in ways beyond our understanding. The delay is not silence, it is strategy. It is preparation in motion. Think of how a seed grows. When it is flea grows, it must remain buried in darkness before it breaks open and reaches the light. If it were to sprout too early, before the soil and season were ready, it would wither. Likewise, our hearts often need that period of stillness, that quiet season of unseen growth, before we can bloom. Allah is working on your roots before He reveals your fruits. He delays not to deprive you, but to deepen you, because what He has planned for you requires a stronger, wiser version of you to handle it. Sometimes the delay teaches you patience, a kind of patience that cleanses the heart of entitlement and fills it with truths. Sometimes it teaches you humility, reminding you that you are not in control. And sometimes it simply teaches you love for Allah's plan, even when it doesn't align with your own. The waiting period is sacred. It's where your faith is tested and your relationship with Allah is strengthened. Because when you wait with faith in, you are not doing nothing, you are trusting. You are believing that your Lord's plan is always better than your dreams for. There are countless examples in the lives of the prophets that show us how divine delays lead to divine rewards. Prophet Yusuf A.S. was imprisoned for years before becoming a ruler. Prophet Musa A.S. spent years away from his people before returning as a messenger. Even the Prophet Muhammad II endured years of struggle before the victory of Islam was made manifest. If Allah had granted their success immediately, their stories would not have been so powerful, nor would their faith have reached such perfection. Their waiting was their preparation. Their delay was their elevation. In your own life, the same principle applies. Maybe you didn't get that job because Allah knew it would distract you from your purpose. Maybe that relationship ended because Allah wanted to give you someone who would bring you closer to Him. Maybe your plans fell apart because Allah had a better one waiting. One that would align not just with your desires, but with your destiny. The delay is Allah saying, trust me. I am not done writing your story yet. There is beauty in realizing that Allah's timing is always right. What feels like a delay to you is perfect synchronization in His divine calendar. He is not making you wait aimlessly. He is aligning the people, the circumstances, and your own heart for the blessing He has written for you. And when that moment comes, when everything falls into place, you'll understand why it had to take the time. You'll see that every not yet was never of no. It was Allah's way of saying, oh, be patient. I am preparing you for something greater. So if you find yourself waiting, don't lose heart. The delay is your classroom, your training ground. It's where Allah builds your strength, deepens your reliance on Him, and teaches you that success without faith is hollow. Keep walking, keep praying, keep trusting, because your waiting is not wasted. Allah is working behind the scenes, arranging every detail of your life with perfect wisdom. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the delay was not a barrier to your blessing. It was the bridge that led you. Sabr transforms pain into purification and to closeness to Allah. Those words hold a truth that only the heart wounded by hardship can truly understand. Pain, in its raw form, feels unbearable. It burns, it suffocates, it breaks you down until you question your strength and wonder if you'll ever heal again. But when that pain is met with the sabr, with patience, faith, and surrender, it becomes something sacred. It becomes a tool through which Allah polishes the heart, washing away arrogance, cleansing attachment, and drawing you closer to Him than you ever thought possible. Sabr is not just about holding back tears or suppressing emotion. It is not a cold endurance of suffering. Rather, it is the heart's quiet submission to Allah's will, the deep understanding that even in your pain, you are being guided. Sabr is saying, "Via Allah, I don't understand, but I trust you." It's allowing the heart to rest in the knowledge that no hardship is without purpose and no tear goes unseen by the one who created you. Pain, when held with sabr, becomes an intimate conversation between the servant and the Lord, a sacred space where the soul whispers its weakness, and Allah responds with strength. When you go through hardship, it's easy to think you are being punished. Allah often uses pain as purification, not punishment. He removes the rust that has gathered on the heart through worldly attachments, ego, or heedlessness. Just as fire refines gold, pain refines the believer. It burns away impurities, leaving the heart softer, cleaner, and more alive. Sabr transforms that suffering into something meaningful, a cleansing that washes the soul of what keeps the soul of what keeps it distant. Each hardship faced with patience becomes an act of worship, a means of purification that lifts the believer to higher spiritual ranks. There are sins we don't even realize we commit, moments of pride, neglect, or reliance on creation instead of the Creator. Sometimes Allah allows us to experience pain to return us to a state of humility and remembrance. Through hardship, He teaches us how fragile we are and how much we depend on Him. That realization that everything we have, everything we lose, and everything we are can only exist through Him is one of the most profound gifts Sabr brings. When you endure pain with faith, your heart begins to detach from the illusion of control and attach instead to the source of all peace, Allah. The Prophet Muhammad said, no fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that. This is the essence of Sabr, the understanding that every ounce of pain, every drop of tear is not wasted. Each moment of suffering purifies you, washing away sins and drawing you nearer to Allah. The pain you feel is not empty, it is filled with mercy. The believer who bears hardship with patience is like someone being washed in a river, emerging cleaner, lighter, and closer to their Lord. Sabr also changes your relationship with Allah. It deepens your faith from something intellectual to something experiential. When you stand before Allah in your weakness, with a heart that has tasted pain, your dua becomes different, softer, truer, more sincere. You no longer just know Allah is the most merciful. You feel His mercy through every moment He carries you when you can't stand on your own. You no longer just believe He is the provider. You see His provision in the strength He gives your heart when the world around you collapses. Sabr transforms your understanding of Allah from something you read in books to something engraved in your soul. Pain endured with patience becomes the doorway to spiritual elevation. The companions of the Prophet went through immense suffering, loss, exile, hunger, and persecution, but their sabr turned their pain into light. It became the reason their hearts were so close to Allah, the reason they could see this world for what it truly is, temporary. They understood that every hardship was a step closer to Jannah, a reminder that the believer's true home is not here, but with Allah. When you practice sabr, your pain no longer controls you. It refines you. You stop asking, why me? And begin to ask, what is Allah teaching me through this? That shift transforms the entire experience. Instead of drowning in sorrow, you begin to rise in faith. Instead of bitterness, you find peace. Instead of distance, you find nearness to Allah. Sabr becomes your anchor in the storm, your light in the tunnel, and your purification in the fire. So when you face hearts of fire, do not see it as destruction. See it as transformation. Your pain is not meaningless. It is a gift wrapped in difficulty, carrying within it the seeds of your growth. If you hold on to Sabr, if you trust Allah through the H, your heart will emerge from the trial stronger, purer, and closer to the one who never left you. Because that is what Sabr truly does. It turns your wounds into worship, your struggles into strength, and your pain into a path that leads straight back to Allah. The darkness of the tunnel is temporary, but the light of faith is eternal. Life at times feels like walking through a tunnel, long, uncertain, and heavy with silence. You move forward step by step, unsure where the path leads, surrounded by shadows that make you doubt whether the light even exists. There are moments when the pain feels endless, when your heart aches so deeply that you wonder if you will ever feel peace again. In those moments, despair whispers that this darkness will last forever. But it won't, because no night lasts forever, and no tunnel continues without end. The light always returns, not because the world suddenly becomes perfect, but because faith gives you eyes to see beyond the darkness. The tunnel, your hardship, your sorrow, your loneliness, is a passage, not a prison. It is not where your story ends, it's where your soul is shaped. The darkness is not meant to destroy you, but to teach you to seek the light. You see, light is most visible when everything else fades. When life strips away your comfort and certainty, it leaves you with what truly matters, your connection to Allah. And that connection, that light of faith, is what sustains you when nothing else can. It doesn't eliminate the pain, but it transforms it into purpose. It turns your fear into surrender, your weakness into reliance, and your confusion. There is beauty in realizing that the tunnel itself serves a divine purpose. It slows you down. It humbles you. It forces you to listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the voice of your soul and the whispers of your Lord. In that darkness, you begin to discover who you are without the illusions of control or certainty. You learn that the things you once leaned on, people, plans, possessions, were never your true anchors. The real anchor has always been Allah, and the tunnel is the reminder that He is the only light that never fades. Faith is not about never feeling afraid. It's about holding on to light even when fear surrounds you. It's standing in the dark and saying, that my Lord is still with me. The believer doesn't deny the darkness, they walk through it with trust, knowing it's temperate with trust. Allah says in the Quran next, for indeed, with hardship comes ease. Notice that He doesn't say a quarters after hardship. He says with it. Meaning, even inside the tunnel, even in the thick of your pain, there is ease. It may not look like comfort or relief, but it's there in the strength to endure, in the patience that grows, in the faith that deepens. The light of faith is always present, even when the world around you seems dim. Many times, what feels like the darkest chapter of your life becomes the one that brings you closest to Allah. The nights spent in tears become the moments when you discover the sweetness of dua. The silence you feared becomes a sacred conversation with your Lord. The pain that once crushed you becomes the reason your heart learns humility. That is the miracle of faith. It can turn the darkest tunnel into a path of light. It teaches you that even if the world around you collapses, as long as you have Allah, you have everything you need. The darkness, no matter how suffocating, cannot overpower the light of faith. Think of the Prophet Yunus A.S. in the belly of the whale, alone, swallowed by darkness upon darkness. Yet his faith illuminated that space. His words, there is no God but you, glory be to you. Indeed, I have been of the wrongdoers, were not just a cry for remorse. They were a declaration of faith in the midst of despair. His light pierced through layers of ocean and shadow until it reached the heavens. That is what faith does. It breaks through darkness in ways the eyes cannot see, but the heart can feel. When you are in your tunnel, remember that the darkness is temporary. It will end. The pain will pass. But what will remain is the light you carried through it, the lessons, the patience, the closeness to Allah that hardship carved into your heart. Every difficulty you endure with faith becomes a source of eternal light in this world and the next. It may not seem like it now, but the very tunnel that feels endless is leading you somewhere beautiful, toward healing, toward growth, toward growth. Faith is the light that never fades because it does not depend on circumstances. It depends on conviction. The world may take away your comfort, your plans, or your certainty, but it cannot touch your faith unless you let it. And when your heart clings to Allah, when you keep walking despite the darkness, you'll find that the tunnel was never as endless as it seemed. The light was waiting, and perhaps it was not only at the end. Perhaps it was within you all along, the flame of Iman that no storm could extinguish. So keep walking, even when you cannot see. Keep believing, even when the outcome is unknown. Because the darkness of the tunnel is only temporary, but the light of faith, the trust in Allah's mercy, and the hope in His promise, those are eternal. And when you finally emerge from the tunnel, you will realize that what sustained you all along was not the light outside, but the light that Allah placed within your heart. True patience isn't about getting through the storm. It's about finding peace within it. Most people believe that patience means waiting until the hardship ends. Until the pain fades, the doors open, and life becomes calm again. But that is only half of the truth. Real Sabr is not about passively enduring until the storm passes. It's about learning to stand firm while the winds howl, the rain pours, and everything around you feels uncertain. It's about keeping your heart steady, not because the situation is easy, but because your trust in Allah is stronger than your fear of the storm. When life shakes you, through loss, disappointment, or confusion, patience is not just what helps you survive, it's what helps you transform. It's the quiet decision of the soul that says, heck, even here, even now, I will choose faith over despair. It's refusing to let your pain define your belief. It's standing in the middle of the storm and remembering that your Lord controls every drop of rain, every gust of wind, every thunder that roars around you. Patience isn't pretending that the storm doesn't hurt. It's crying through it, praying through it, breathing through it, and still saying, Alhamdulillah. The true essence of patience lies in your heart's posture, because in your heart's posture, anyone can wait for the storm to end, but not everyone can remain content while it rages. True Sabr is when your heart is at peace not because life is easy, but because you have surrendered to the one who controls all ease and difficulty. It's when you realize that your strength doesn't come from fighting the storm, but from trusting that Allah has placed you in it for a reason, to cleanse, to teach, or to elevate you. Every hardship carries a hidden mercy, but you can only see it when you stop struggling against Allah's plan and start flowing with it. Sometimes, the storm you fear most is the one that saves you. It strips away your false attachments, the things you thought you couldn't live without, and leaves you with nothing. But it's in those moments of loss and emptiness that you finally discover the truth. Everything else fades, but everything else fades. True patience is not gritting your teeth until the hardship passes. It's using that hardship as a bridge to get closer to Him. It's realizing that the storm is not a punishment but a calling, an invitation to return to the one who can calm the waves within your heart. Look at how the prophets endured their storms. Prophet Ayub A.S. lost his health, his wealth, and his family, yet his heart never lost its peace. He didn't wait for the pain to end before remembering Allah. He remembered Allah through every moment of it. He didn't say, I'll be patient until I'm healed. His patience was his healing. His heart was content because he knew that Allah's mercy was greater than his suffering. That is the kind of patience that transforms, the kind that turns storms into sanctuaries of faith. True patience isn't passive faith. It's active worship. It's a heart that refuses to complain against Allah even when every part of you aches. It's the tongue that continues to make dhikr when silence feels easier. It's the soul that bows deeper in sujud when the burden feels heaviest. Real patience is not just waiting. It's worshipping through waiting. It's saying, Ya Allah, even if this storm never, I will still trust you. That is the kind of faith that shakes the heavens. The truth is, the storm is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It reveals what's inside you. Whether your faith is shallow or rooted deep, it shows you how much you truly rely on Allah, not in theory, but in reality. When everything is stripped away, and you still find peace in remembering Him, that's when you know you have found true patience. Because peace in the storm doesn't come from the world calming down. It comes from your heart finding stillness in His remembrance. And the beautiful thing about true Sabr is that it leaves you different from how it found you. When the storm finally passes, and it will, you emerge softer, wiser, more grounded. You realize that what you thought was breaking you was, in fact, building you. You understand that the storm wasn't meant to drown you, but to cleanse you. The tears you cried weren't signs of weakness. They were signs that your heart was alive, reaching out to its creator. So don't rush to escape the storm. Don't wish it away before it has finished its work. Let it refine you. Let it draw you closer to Allah. Let it teach you that peace is not the absence of pain, but the presence of trust. Because true patience isn't about waiting for the skies to clear. It's about walking through the rain, whispering Allah's name, and knowing deep in your soul that even in the storm, you are exactly where you are meant to be. And when you reach that place, when you can find gratitude in your grief, calmness in your chaos, and faith in your fear, that's when the storm no longer controls you. That's when you've learned the secret. The world's storms are temporary, but the peace that comes from patience, from true Sabr, is eternal.